Welcome, this is Nathan and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where Algeria will form an empire. That's right, the Empire series is now, well, it's definitely back now. I wanted to get the Civilization series back on its path. But we're going to come back to one of the, I think my oldest series actually. I think the series is like 2 years old? I don't know. Is it? Anyway, today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where Algeria will be forming an empire. Now, taking a look at like all the empire videos that I've done, I've noticed that I've not done, if that, barely touched Africa. I've done Morocco, I've done Egypt, I've done South Africa. But there are so many other countries in Africa that are major. Like, I have 5-6 countries here that I want to give empires, which means I'm probably going to be dead focused on Africa for a couple of videos for the Empire series. We'll do China, we'll do Indonesia, we'll do Australia, we'll do Canada, don't worry. We'll also do Switzerland, the Dutch. We'll get to every country in this series. Yes, I mean it. We're going to do every country eventually in this series, if it can keep its pace that's going on right now. But Algeria, they are a Northern African country. And they are definitely in an interesting spot to form an empire. They've got pretty bad relations with Morocco. And other than that, they haven't really, I don't really know what the full depths of Algeria's relations with its neighbours. But today they're going to be going out against their neighbours, expanding, creating a glorious empire. And they're going to be buffed, NATO won't exist, blah blah blah. I'm sure you guys know this. Now Algeria's in a very interesting spot. Maybe not as an interesting spot as other countries have done forming their empires, but they're certainly not in a easy spot. You can't really invade Mauritania, Mali and Niger, because that's desert and you can't really fight in the desert. Morocco would be probably like a pretty even battle. If Morocco and Algeria went face to face with no support from anybody, I think Morocco would win. But I'm not sure. But then you've got two countries to your left, to your right, who are I don't know why I struggle with that. Who are very easy pickings. So Algeria's first expansion conquest will be into Tunisia. Oh, poor Tunisia, you don't even stand a chance here. Considering the fact that Algeria is buffed, this is going to go really fast. Algerian tanks roll in, cutting off Tunisia from its southern portion, which will completely, well, not starve, but it will completely capitulate the southern zone. And we see Algerian troops now coming in from all sides, as they're now closing on the capital of Tunis. They take it, and they completely take over Tunisia. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. In the peace treaty, Algeria will be fully annexing Tunisia into their country. This isn't bad, this isn't going to be hard, but where's Algeria going next? Well, their tanks ain't going to stop rolling this way, because they're going straight into Libya. Now, Algeria's expansion has already caught the eye of a few countries. The most notable country is Morocco. They immediately call out Algeria's actions and what they're doing. Does Algeria seem to care? Not really. Egypt doesn't say anything. They don't want to get on the bad side of Algeria. Algeria is probably near the same strength now as Egypt with their buffs. Basically, I don't know if I've ever explained it. Buffing a country is doubling what it's already got. I don't know if I've ever explained that. So we're taking what they've got and doubling it. So Algeria would be double the power here. Anyway, Algerian tanks will now roll into Libya and... Is Tripoli? Yeah, Tripoli's this side. This is going to be their toughest war yet. For now. As they will roll tanks and begin to encircle Tripoli. As they successfully encircle Tripoli, they will expand their front line here and will continue following the coast, trying to get to the major city over here, I don't know the name of. Tanks will eventually get to that city and will capture it. And at this point, The Battle of Tripoli has ended and Tripoli has been captured. And with Libya now basically being a guerrilla warfare zone, we see the complete capturing of the coast, which basically calls it defeats for Libya. And we see in the next following months Libya surrendering. Not really. In fact, there'll probably be a lot of guerrilla warfare. Libya is the most unstable northern African country. They're an absolute mess. So let's take a look at this peace treaty. In the peace treaty, Algeria will be annexing that is not the bucket. Algeria will be annexing all this land from Libya. This is a huge hit to Libya. They just lost their capital and, well, honestly, I don't think Libya's, honestly, okay. Being honest, if Libya lost all this land, I don't think they'd be able to function as a country. Considering the fact they barely function as a country right now, I don't think they'll be able to function like this, but we'll say they will. Anyway, Algeria's now invaded its two weakest, maybe not weakest, neighbours. Well now, you've got the remains of Libya, which you've got a peace treaty with, so you can't invade that again, even if there's any point other than this coast by here. You don't want to mess with Europe. You'll get smushed. Even with Algeria being buffed, there is no chance of taking on Europe. I guarantee you, all three of these countries that they could possibly invade, they would get smushed by. They might stalemate Spain, but France and Italy would just have a field day. Well, maybe not. You can try Morocco, but that may not. That's something you don't want to stir up, because if you stir that up, then you're gonna kind of get the rest of Africa to hate you. So where do you go now? Well, Algeria's next. Algeria will be doing the really tedious task of invading Mali and Niger. What's the point of this? I don't even know. Look, honestly, their expansions, this is probably the reason why they're doing it. So troops from Algeria will enter into Mali and absolutely just have a nothing. There literally is nothing here. There's, like, okay, to skip past this, they basically capture the northern area of Mali and this part of Niger. After taking over these areas with specially trained troops, they finally get to the forces of these countries, which, honestly, I think these are probably the weakest countries Algeria's fought, even weaker than Libya. Algeria will now invade and will now try and head to Bamako, which they successfully do, but yeah, Mali's gonna surrender, and as soon as Mali's down, Niger just surrenders before anything else can happen. Let's take a look at this peace treaty. In the peace treaty, Algeria will be annexing a ton of land. Remember, this land isn't very, I guess the oil, is there oil in the Saharan desert? I don't know what the point of the Saharan desert is. I don't know if there's any benefits to annexing any of it, but Algeria is going to do that here. They will take a huge chunk out of Niger and Mali, and wow, okay, this is horrendous. That is horrendous. I honestly don't want to look at that. They'll be annexing two huge chunks from that. They'll be annexing a huge chunk from Mali, leaving them basically crippled. Maybe not. They kept their good zone, and they will be annexing. Even though Niger did surrender, Algeria will be annexing the northern bit of the country, and will be puppeting the rest of it. So, what's Algeria's next move? Well, I think you saw this coming. Algeria will declare war on Morocco. Now, like I said, this is going to have some side effects. Almost immediately, we see Libya join this war. Now, this is weird, so I'm going to include Western Sahara because I don't care, it's not independent. Why is Libya joining the war? Well, they're going to try and take back the land they lost. Is anybody else going to join this war? No. Nobody seems to want to join this war. There's really no point. A lot of countries don't have the interest in joining, and the only two countries I could see even wanting to join this war are Mauritania and Chad. You know, Chad and Libya don't have the best relations, but I don't think Chad's in the state to do this, and I don't think Mauritania is in the state to really go up against one of the strongest countries in Africa. So, Algerian troops will move into Morocco in trying to capture Rabat. So we see them enter in, and they struggle. No doubt this is going to be the hardest challenge that Algeria has faced. Now, this invasion here is at the point that Libya joined the war. There are troops here to put down any guerrilla warfare or rebels. I'm just going to be honest. This is all Libya accomplishes. Libya will take over this area of land, completely failing to capture anything else. They do capture some of the Saharan Desert. Congratulations, you took over sand. This is really not on Morocco. Algeria really does not care about this. This can be sorted easily. They just need to get Morocco out of the way. Now, Morocco, they're really holding their own here. Consider the fact that Algeria is so much stronger than Morocco, they're holding their own pretty well. And, let's just say, it doesn't take Algeria long to figure out what's happening. Because, the USA is funding Morocco and giving them equipment. Now, why is the USA helping Morocco? Well, Morocco and USA have good relations. They date back to independence of the United States. Because, back then, Morocco was one of the first countries to recognize independence. So this is really hard, but even with US equipment, it's just US equipment. I guess it is top-notch equipment. Algeria they're gonna try their best. They continue pushing in, and they will now make an offensive over here, which, goes well until it doesn't. And we see Morocco actually stalemate Algeria. How's it looking over here with Libya? Let's just look at this real quick. Oh, the forces that were putting down rebels have been able to push back Libya. Well, only a matter of time before that thing falls. Now, Algeria has a plan. It's a very risky plan, but they're going to use a tactic that Germany used in World War II, Blitzkrieg. Now, are they going to do that to Morocco? No. They decide, and that they have this on their list anyway to invade. Algeria is going to blitzkrieg through Mauritania. They're going to blitzkrieg through Mauritania, cripple it, and make a surprise attack from the south and surprise Morocco. This is probably one of the most effective invasions anybody's ever going to see in Africa. Troops will immediately flood into Mauritania, absolutely overwhelming any forces that would be here. And within only about 2 weeks, Mauritania completely capitulates. From here, tanks begin to steamroll into Western Sahara, where they're actually met with open arms. We actually see Western Sahara just rebel from Morocco. And here we are, and now we see tanks rolling up into Morocco, jumping the back lines of these troops, encircling a bunch of troops and killing them all. And here we see Morocco begin to fall as they now have a huge front in the south, which has hundreds upon hundreds of thousands of troops. Not millions, but hundreds of thousands of troops steamrolling towards them. With this blitzkrieg, Morocco is going to do everything it can to not die, but it's basically over. They don't have the equipment to fight this. We see the capture of Rabat, and Morocco will have to surrender over to Algeria, and Libya fell. yeah, Libya fell to the defensive forces that were putting down rebels. Who knows, they did not take out the Mediterranean. Who knows, Libya may literally just collapse under its own pressure because it can't take another war. Anyway, let's take a look at this peace treaty. And taking a look at this peace treaty, we can see that, well, Northern Africa's basically Algeria. Oh god. This isn't awfully strong. It's so big. This might be one of the biggest empires yet. Anyway, in the peace treaty, we can see that Algeria will be annexing a part of Mauritania. Is it Mauritania or Mauritania? They won't be taking the whole thing. They can't, and they really did just blitzkrieg through Mauritania, and they took the land they wanted. They freed Western Sahara. I'm sure that won't become like that in the future, but they make Western Sahara an independent country. And from Morocco, they take a sliver of land down here to get access to the Atlantic. Then annex a chunk out of Morocco, leaving Morocco pretty beaten up. You wouldn't really think that this is like too much of a loss, but it kind of is. And for Libya, they will be annexing a piece of the desert. And, okay, I'll be honest, it looked horrible. I wanted to fix it. They wouldn't annex that land in real life. I made them do it. And they annexed what remains of the coast of Libya and puppet the rest. What would Algeria do from here? Well, just like I said, they'd probably end up annexing Western Sahara to get more access to the Atlantic. But other than that, this empire would probably be done. It'll be, if they kept expanding, they'd be too big to take over, to handle all the land they have. But anyway, that will do it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.